good evening or morning or afternoon, wherever you're from. Thank you so much for making time to come for the Eco Sustainability talk on sustainability as a driver of business advantage. This is a very interesting topic because before this, we've been talking a lot about technical details like how to do carbon accounting, how to do reporting, what are the standards. But um, a lot of companies ask, after we've spent so much time, so much money, what exactly do we do with this? What can we use to our advantage? So today we have a wonderful talk from our consultant, Geraldine, from the Philippines. Okay, let's go to the next slide.
Yes. Hold on.
All right. So, Eco Sustainability is a company headquartered in Singapore, and we are across a couple of countries in Southeast Asia, namely Cambodia, Thailand, Malaysia, Indonesia, and the Philippines. We do five things: sustainability reporting, consultant, consulting, carbon projects, training, and policy services. All right. So these are the five things that we do. For sustainability reporting, we specialize in a couple of standards, and of course, the mother of all standards, the ISSB. For carbon credit projects, we specialize in Vera, and we also do a lot of training, and we are very active in coming up with research policy papers. Next. All right. We specialize in 17 standards and frameworks. You for sure will recognize at least a few. You would know ISSB, you might have heard of SBTI, SASB, which is the sector specific standard. If you go down a little bit, you might see Greenhouse Gas Protocol, that's the standard for carbon accounting. Vera, which is the standard for carbon credit, and of course, a couple of ISO standards. Uh, for sure, 14064, that's the carbon accounting standard. Uh, 67 and 68 as well. All right, next. All right. This is the part which we are very proud of. As you know, there are global standards, ISSB, Vera, SASB, and then there are standard users, which is all of us, all of you here, all right, you're either a person preparing the report, or you're auditing the report, or you're from the regulators, or from the government. Maybe you come up with policies. But there's a special bunch of people in between the standard setters and the standard users. They're called standards contributors. Standards contributors are basically people who write technical papers to submit to the standard setters to tell them um, how we feel about the standards. So we are the people who would go through every comma, every full stop. We debate the meaning of every word. So today we have a treat. You're not just learning from a regular trainer, but you are learning from people who are practicing, but also actively in standards contribution. Currently, we have three active contributions with the TNFD. It's not listed here because we have not finished it. And also for the SBTI on automotives. All right.
All right. Thank you, Keegan. Good evening, everyone. My name is Geraldine. I am a consultant at Eco Sustainability. I shall take about 40 minutes of your time to talk about sustainability as a driver of business advantage. If you have any questions, Keegan, our managing director, and I would be happy to answer them at the end of the talk. Just a few housekeeping notes. The talk is being recorded for learning purposes, and please keep your microphones muted. You may also post your questions in the chat box or raise your hand during the Q&A. At the end of the talk, I hope you have learned how sustainability can go beyond the compliance, becoming a strategic advantage that drives innovation and strengthens brand reputation and creates long-term business value. Um, for this evening, I will talk about sustainability beyond compliance, sustainability in business, sustainability as a driver of business advantage, driving sustainability in business, case studies on sustainability in business, and success stories on ISSB sustainability reporting. To meet increasing demands on sustainability reporting, companies must demonstrate greater transparency and accountability and incorporate sustainability into their business strategy, moving them beyond compliance. Incorporating sustainability into the company's business strategy is no longer an option, but a necessity for a company's long-term success. Companies which do not risk falling behind. Sustainability is shaping the way companies operate and compete, aligning their core operations with an increasingly sustainability conscious world. Sustainability in business refers to the impacts of companies on society and the environment, and a sustainable business strategy positively impacts one or both. Harvard Business School professor Rebecca Henderson notes that businesses cannot do good in the world if they are not doing well financially. Doing good and doing well are closely connected, and successful business strategies do both. Companies that incorporate sustainability into their business strategies not only address the world's most pressing problems, but also drive value creation and long-term growth. Incorporating sustainability into the company's business strategy can prevent operational disruptions as it helps the company anticipate and manage risks. A company with a sustainable supply chain is less likely to be affected by resource availability or price fluctuations, while a company conducting improper business practices could see its reputation damaged and may even lose business because of it. As investors are increasingly prioritizing long-term value over short-term gains, purpose-driven companies now appear to be good investments more than ever. Transparency in a company's sustainable practices has become non-negotiable for investors. According to the 2024 Connected Impact Transparency Index, companies that align sustainability disclosures with action build trust and attract more capital. Transparency and purposeful action make a company stand out and build trust with stakeholders, which is invaluable in today's marketplace. Sustainability is more than doing the right thing. It is a way to differentiate and enhance a brand. Sustainable companies attract motivated, skilled workforce that drives financial success. Being sustainable gives employees a sense of security and inspires loyalty and engagement, thereby increasing productivity. A company that is not sustainable can cause it to lose out on top talent to competitors who are. A 2025 World Economic Forum report emphasizes that to meet evolving consumer and regulatory demands, companies are using sustainability to drive growth and innovation, thus creating new markets and revenue streams. A company that improves supply chain processes, reduces material waste, optimizes transportation, and practices energy efficiency significantly reduces costs. There is a growing market for sustainable products. The 2024 Connected Impact Transparency Index reveals that 64% of consumers are likely to buy from responsible brands to minimize their environmental and social impacts. Businesses that cater to this market can command premium pricing and grow faster. A company that incorporates sustainability into their operations not only mitigate risks, but weather disruptions better and is able to capitalize on new opportunities in an evolving marketplace. Okay. Sustainability enhances brand, which in turn builds long-term value. The 2025 Brand Finance Global 500 report highlights how brands that invest in Sustainable practices attract loyal customers and earn investor confidence. As consumers, investors, and governments demand for sustainability set to increase, incorporating sustainability into a company's business strategy is vital for a company to remain relevant in the coming years. This is particularly important because of the millennials and the Gen Z are interested in responsible brands. They're more interested in responsible brands because they want to be more socially and environmentally responsible. Wow. Okay. Driving sustainability in the company has challenges, including lack of commitment from the board, little accountability, sustainability teams having no authority to implement initiatives, and skill gaps. Driving sustainability in a company requires transformation of every area of their business. And to stay competitive, a company must continuously improve its data management, risk assessments, and sustainability. Sustainability reporting aids a company incorporate sustainability into the financial decision making to build a resilient and sustainable business. So what is sustainability reporting? Sustainability reporting is the public disclosure of a company's impacts, risks, and opportunities to help stakeholders make informed decisions based on the company's sustainability and long-term value. The Bank of America Global Research found that sustainability information was the only reliable predictor of earnings per share volatility, better than traditional measures such as return on equity. Companies which perform better in terms of sustainability experience the lowest EPS volatility in a 5-year period, while those with the worst environmental, social, and governance records had an average of 92% volatility. Empirical research from the University of Oxford found that 90% of the studies on the cost of capital show that sound sustainability standards lower the cost of capital for companies. The International Sustainability Standards Board, or ISSB, was created under the International Financial Reporting Standards, or IFRS, Foundation at COP26 to bring the same discipline to sustainability reporting that IFRS brings to financial reporting. ISSB published its first standards, the IFRS S1 and S2, in June 2023, the first global standards for investor-focused sustainability reporting. Now, let's take a look at case studies on sustainability in business. Apple is the most valuable brand in the world for 2025. It is followed by Microsoft, Google, Amazon, and Walmart. These are big brands. Apple also has the high sustainability perception value of any brand. Apple's position at the top is not an assessment of its actual sustainability performance. Apple has in fact been criticized for labor conditions in their production facilities. Their links to conflict zones into sourcing of minerals, because for gadgets we need gold, we need other minerals, and we need to mine them. And also they have been criticized for their greenhouse gas emissions. Apple's position reflects consumers' perception that they're making efforts to minimize their negative impacts. This is due to Apple branding itself as a leader in sustainability through their ambitious Apple 2030 goal to make every product carbon neutral, focusing on renewable energy, recycled materials, and supply chain decarbonization. The brands that are best perceived to be sustainable are the brands that explicitly make sustainability part of their branding. The actual sustainability performance and perceived sustainability are not always aligned, as in the case of Microsoft. Microsoft is actually a leader in sustainability performance, but consumers do not perceive them as such. Why is that? Because there is not a statistically significant correlation between actual sustainability performance and perceived sustainability. As a matter of fact, while Microsoft is widely recognized for their aggressive high-level environmental targets, Research suggests that the company's branding do not fully leverage their sustainability performance compared to other brands. So what they do is they do green hushing. So it is the opposite of greenwashing. Um, they they um they don't really disclose their sustainability practices, sustainability performance. Brands that Brands that do not communicate their sustainability performance to their stakeholders fail to maximize their branding, reducing brand value. That is why communicating one's sustainability performance is a must to create long-term business value. Now let us take a look at Cirque du Soleil. Cirque du Soleil aims to have a positive impact on people, communities, and the planet using the things that set them apart, creativity and art. Cirque du Soleil's sustainability strategy focuses on the environment, people, partnerships and community, and responsible governance. Cirque du Soleil aims to reduce the environmental impacts of their activities, provide an inspiring, healthy, and safe working environment for their employees, make responsible choices in procurement and partnership while advocating for positive change in their communities, and assure the proper governance of their operations by demonstrating accuracy and transparency in their business records. Cirque du Soleil produces a significant number of costumes every year because they have shows all over the world. To reduce the environmental impacts of their activities, Cirque du Soleil has created a process that extends the life of their costumes. The process is called APTO, which stands for Artistic, Performance, Technical, and Operational. APTO makes use of rigorous environmentally friendly specifications and is applied to all production processes from training creative teams to truck loading. APTO has enabled Cirque du Soleil to considerably reduce their environmental impact and to save significantly on production costs, which goes back to our previous discussion on reducing costs for companies by being sustainable, sourcing sustainable materials and being efficient. Now, let us take a look at success stories on ISSB sustainability reporting. HSBC is one of the largest banking and financial services organizations in the world. HSBC has a clear strategy to deliver revenue and profit growth and create long-term shareholder value. HSBC's approach to environmental, social, and governance is rooted in creating long-term value for their customers and the economies they serve, and their financial performance reflects business growth. It's actually as seen on their sustainability report. Well, it's actually an annual report, but they have aligned the report with the ISSB back in 2024. The board takes overall responsibility for ESG strategy, overseeing executive management in developing the approach, execution, and reporting. The board is regularly provided with specific updates on ESG matters, and they are also provided training as part of their induction and ongoing development. In October 2024, a sustainability working group was established. As part of their strategy, transitioning to net zero is a key priority for HSBC. Since 2020, HSBC has provided and facilitated $393.6 billion of sustainable finance and investment. This is a $99.2 billion increase from the past year. That is a lot. HSBC believes that the transition to net zero will help make the global economy stronger, more resilient against climate impacts. HSBC enhanced their their uh, assessment of the impacts of climate change on capital, focusing on credit market and operational risk. HSBC enhanced their climate scenario analysis to assess risks under different temperature pathways. So they have different assessments for a 1.5 degrees Celsius increase in global warming, 2 degrees, 3 degrees, this is what's important. HSBC developed climate risk guidelines to embed climate risk considerations into credit risk assessment. So if you're going to loan money from HSBC, you're asking them to finance your project development. They would have to traditionally they would just consider the financial aspects of the investment, but nowadays they also make use of environmental and social criteria. In 2020, HSBC set an ambition to achieve net zero in their operations and supply chain by 2030. Although they have made good progress in reducing their Scope 1 and 2 emissions and are currently on track to deliver reductions of more than 90% by 2030 compared to their 2019 baseline, progress in reducing Scope 3 emissions in their supply chain is proving slower than they anticipated. This is quite normal and is common among companies because we can't really control how other companies manage their sustainability practices. Also, with HSBC, since it's a bank and a financial service organization, they invest in other companies and they finance projects by developers. So now, HSBC is now focused on achieving net zero in their operations, travel, and supply chain by 2050. So it's now delayed by 20 years. But this is quite normal because, like I said, it's difficult to have control how other companies manage their sustainability practices. Another success story on ISSB sustainability reporting is that of Discover Coffee. Discover Coffee is an artisanal coffee roaster based in Kuala Lumpur. Discover Coffee's founder, Sylvia, is one of the very few coffee bean suppliers who personally visit the coffee farms. So they have a relationship with the coffee farms across the globe. Discover Coffee prepared their first sustainability report in 2023, which was verified by EcoSustainability. So EcoSustainability has actually worked with Discover Coffee. So this is a first-hand experience for the consulting firm. Discover Coffee's founder leads the integration of sustainability into the company's operations. A sustainability officer had been appointed to drive sustainability in the company. As I mentioned a while ago, one of the challenges of being sustainable for companies that sustainability teams have no power to implement initiatives, but with Discover Coffee, it's a different story. They actually empower the sustainability officer to make changes in the company. Discover Coffee sources coffee from sustainable farms, uses green packaging, and conducts regenerative farming education for suppliers. So we also train the suppliers. So it's a two-way relationship. It's a two-way street. So it's a good professional working relationship. Also, coffee is one of the crops most impacted by climate change. Rising temperatures and erratic rainfall threaten yield and quality. To mitigate risk and prevent operational disruptions, Discover Coffee sources their coffee from sustainable farms. So they're not being reactive, they're actually being active. So they're being proactive. Instead of waiting for a problem to arise, they actually prevent problems from taking place by being sustainable. Discover Coffee aims to reduce 30% of emissions by 2026 and to be carbon neutral by 2035. So I don't know if they have achieved that because it's still the first quarter of 2026, but hopefully they'll be able to achieve 30% reduction in emissions within the year. So this is really important. Discover Coffee's financial position, financial performance, and prospects have significantly improved. The company sources their coffee from sustainable sources, preventing operational disruptions. Like I said, they're being proactive. And while priced slightly higher than their competitors, Discover Coffee's customers are willing to pay higher prices. They are able to charge premium pricing based on perceived value due to ethical sourcing, quality, and transparency. And due to their green packaging, Discover Coffee reduced plastic waste. This is not really an example of an ISSB sustainability report. We just want to make a point. This is an example of an environmental management report, which focuses on environmental impacts as opposed to um, a broader holistic view that demonstrates long-term value creation, which is that of an ISSB sustainability report. When Coldplay first announced their Music of the Spheres tour in 2021, they pledged to reduce their direct emissions by at least 50%, but they were able to reduce 59% of their emissions from 2022 to 2023 compared to their previous tour from 2016 to 2017. So what did they do? Coldplay's stage production is powered entirely with renewable super low emission energy. So they make use of kinetic energy. So concert goers can use their stationary bikes, which would produce energy, which can then power the whole stage. They avoid fossil fuels wherever possible. The band and crew fly commercial as much as possible. Also, to draw down more carbon dioxide than the tour produces, Coldplay supports projects on reforestation, conservation, rewilding, soil regeneration, carbon capture and storage, and renewable energy. The tour funds the planting and lifetime protection of millions of new trees, including one tree for every ticket sold. As you can see, everyone, even Coldplay, is reporting. Here is the list of the references I use. Thank you. And if you have any questions, Keegan and I would be happy to answer them.